statement. We have just a couple of questions, and then if time permits, we'll open it up to some of the folks that are here to ask their questions, and we'll go from there. So.
Great. Can you hear me, Scott?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, you want me to go ahead and start, or?
Yeah, go ahead. This
Okay.
is your time.
Great. First, let me say what an honor it is to serve as superintendent of schools, even during these very challenging times for all of us. You know my history. I'm born and raised here in Tallahassee, a third generation graduate of Leon High School. I've worked for our school system now over 3 decades, starting as a hall monitor and then a classroom teacher. And it's been an honor my entire career to work with some of the finest teachers and administrators that I believe we have in this country. My platform is first and foremost to see us safely through this pandemic. I know it's caused a lot of stress and anxiety on all of us. So that's job one, is to see us safely through these unprecedented times. And then second is to finish what I started and to continue to eliminate wasteful spending at the district level and push resources down to our classrooms and to our employees. I'm proud of the monies we've sent down to our classrooms was flexible spending for principals, to reduce costs for parents with school supplies, to support the arts and athletics, and then for our employees, for you all. Now, I think over the last 3.5 years, I have seen a $4,500 increase to your salaries, and I'm very proud of that. And I honestly wish I could do more. And so my platform basically is to see us through the pandemic and to continue doing the things that I've been doing the last 4 years. And look, I know our relationship has been strained over the last several months, but if given the opportunity, I'm fully prepared to do something about it. And I'm just asking that you please don't throw the 56-year-old baby out with the bathwater. Guys, I've been with you time and time again. Scott, I remember sitting in the gym at Leon High School with Band-Aids on our faces, waiting for Corcoran to walk in about budget cuts and us being cut. I've walked the halls of the Capitol with you to talk to the legislature about not cutting funding for public education. I marched with you all to the Capitol when they talked about not funding public schools. I was in the March of Our Lives when they started talking about arming teachers with guns and all of that nonsense. And I will continue to stand with you every step of the way. And I am looking forward to working with you, to doing a better job of listening to you and to help you through these challenging times. But there's no perfect answer. There's no perfect solution. But I do believe that you all have known me well enough. You've seen my heart. You know that my heart's in the right place. Do I make mistakes from time to time? I'm human. Yes, I do. But it's not because I don't care deeply for you and for the children in our school system.
Thank you. We've got a couple of questions. I think the first one just kind of talks about something that you've already mentioned. What will you do to ensure that instructional staff is included, not just at the district level, but at their site level and some decision-making processes so that they don't feel like it's just a process, but they actually feel like they're being heard?
You know, Scott, you and I had coffee together before I was even elected superintendent. And I want to go back to that. I think what happened was I let some other people maybe get in my ear and say that there needs to be a group of people from the superintendent at the table and a group of people from the teachers at the table, and the superintendent needs to stay out of it. I'm done with that. I'm over that. I'm not that guy. So from now on, if you're at the table, I'm at the table. Now I'll have Dean and other people with me. But no, I'm not doing this anymore. And I should have done that from the very beginning, because and maybe other superintendents don't operate that way. But moving forward, I'm absolutely going to be sitting right there at the table. So every meeting you have, I'm going to be a part of, because, guys, I said this over and over and over and over again when I was principal at Leon. After protecting for the safety of our children and the safety of our employees, job 2 is your morale. And these last several months have been hard for me. It's been hard for me to sit and listen to you all come to school board meetings, because I know you get sick and tired of hearing about my wife, but hell, my wife's a school teacher, and I need to do a better job of listening and gathering ways that we can alleviate some of the stress and anxiety that you all are feeling, and I'm fully committed to that.
Thank you. One of the things that I guess you've hit on it already on that one, so I'll just go to the third question. We have a diverse group of people that are part of the instructional bargaining unit, and we've got an ESE group that's been trying to work with the district. We've got Title I that still is dealing with some other issues. We've got school psychologists and social workers with caseloads, a lot of different things. So what will you do to help address the various positions that represent the instructional staff?
Well, one thing that we've done together is we've ensured that all of those people in your bargaining unit, although they're excluded by state laws, is exactly what a classroom teacher looks like. We've kept those people together because I fully support no one job, no one person is more important than anyone else, starting with me. That's just, I firmly believe that. So that's why I think it's so important for us to continue, whether you're a classroom teacher or a school psychologist or a social worker or a behavior specialist, all of those voices are gathered together, and we're treating people equitably, no matter what your role in our school system is, because every single person is valued, and everyone has an important role, no matter if it's the speech pathologist or the history teacher or the guidance counselor. So we need to ensure that all of our people are being treated in an equitable manner.
Thank you. And then the next one is with the state legislator and the economists talking about an economic downturn and budget shortfalls possibly coming our way. What will you do to protect the classroom, and what does it mean to protect the classroom to you?
So I've been a registered Democrat my entire life since I was registered as a young man here in Leon County. Not because I'm necessarily in lockstep with the party, but it gave me more of a chance to participate. When it comes to social programs and things like that, I tend to lean a little left. But when it comes to finances and being fiscally responsible, I'm very conservative. I'm proud of the fact that we've reduced capital debt by $60 million over the last 4 years. I have Leon County Schools on track to be debt-free by 2028. So whoever's next will inherit a school system that's financially sound. All of those cuts that I've made out here to push back into the resources, into the classroom, and to our employees. I increased our emergency reserve by 40%. We have a very healthy fund balance, but it was important to me to release that $4 million to you guys. But it's because we did that because of what I did to being financially conservative on the other end by doing exactly what I said I was going to do. I said I was coming out here and eliminating wasteful spending because we were top heavy, and we're still somewhat top heavy. But I'm doing the best that I can to eliminate jobs out here and to push those resources down into our schools and to strengthen our fund balance. So when the time comes that we do see whatever happens in January or the spring, that our school district is positioned well to withstand whatever comes out of the legislature. But again, I'm proud of the way I've managed money. I know my opponent talks all about the academic piece, but this job is a monster. It's a $500 million budget. That's a huge responsibility. I have a degree in business, and I'm certainly putting to that degree to work well, and have surrounded myself with other people that are really smart. So we are taking care of taxpayer resources the best we possibly can, and we'll continue to do so.
Okay. One of the things that I was going to do now is we've got a couple more minutes, so I'm going to open it up for folks that raise their hand. And I think for some of the people that asked similar questions before, I don't know if we want to kind of go that route to make sure that we have some equitable responses. So Jennifer Sullivan will go up first. Jennifer Sullivan, you're recognized.
Hello. I am concerned about the time that high school starts. We have decades of research that shows us that there are actual hormones at work that physiologically make it very difficult for teenagers to focus before about 9 or 10 a.m. So you claim to follow great research-based practices. Would you consider actually changing the time for high schools, the starting time?
Yeah, so we've looked at that. It's a great question. We've looked at that before, and what I tried to get to with our transportation department was a 2-tiered system. Obviously, that didn't go as well as I had hoped to reduce routes. But I am fully committed. I've met with some parents that also presented that research, and I get it. And I fully agree. And I will continue to look at ways to potentially get us to a 2-tier system. But when you start moving someone's cheese, especially those elementary parents, and start talking about adjusting times, they get really uptight, but I let me just say that I agree with you, and I will continue to look at viable options to potentially move that start time for those teenagers a little bit later.
Okay, thank you.
Let me go back. The initial plan was for me to combine middle school and high school, and then to do a 2-tiered system. I'm just logistically, I just haven't gotten there yet, but we'll continue to work on it.
I'm gonna go and recognize Sean Willett. Sean.
Sorry, I didn't know how to unmute it. I asked the question in chat. I was asking about benefits in healthcare. Obviously, that's been a sticking point between our sides, and I was just curious if you had ideas on how you could improve the cost of healthcare or keep it locked down at all.
Yeah, and you know, Sean, that's one of the things that we did, and again, me getting ahead of myself, where we're going to save, I think it was $2 million on healthcare, but we were messing around with some of the co-pays and things for folks. But I do want to sit at the table. We have to do something, especially with our family rates. It's off the chain. And we are working on negotiating with CHP. We're going to bring some competition in with CHP. But that's another thing. When you start talking about people's doctors, it's like, you know, I don't want anybody else looking and poking and prodding. You know, I like my guy or my girl. But I think, again, collaborating with you to come up with, let's talk through this, because I'm with you, man. Those rates, we got to do something about it. But then, you know, some people don't take advantage of our health insurance, and they said they'd rather have that money in their salaries. But to your point, yes, I think us continuing with that benefits committee to look at viable options, and then to have competition with CHP to try to drive some of those costs down. That was a priority of mine several years ago when we tried it, and we got some pushback because I got ahead of myself. But we'll try again, and I'm counting on you and Scott and others to be at the table when we do that.
Okay. We've got 3 hands that are raised. We'll go through those. If you have additional questions, just add them to the chat. So we're going to recognize Rebecca Burr, then Jennifer Topper, and then Shari Gawanter.
Okay.
Rebecca.
Hey, Rocky. I know you've been working on this, and I do appreciate that, but I wanted to just ask your opinion on if you're going to continue to have communication with teachers and administrators before things are available to parents and social media and that sort of thing, because I know a lot of teachers feel kind of slighted that we find out things after the fact, and parents
and I tried to write y'all a letter and apologize for that. And you know, in the era of these things, and things are so instantaneous. But yes, and I think us having these roundtable meetings and these committee meetings, and I am absolutely committed to, I've learned from my past missteps, right? And that's why I'm asking you guys to bear with me and for us to work together. And I'm going to be a lot more proactive on the front end, because sometimes I say things in school board meetings and it's like, well, you probably should have thought before you said something.
Yeah, it's not always fun to get a phone call from a parent asking you about something before we've even heard about it and they saw it on social media.
Yeah, I get it. In this age of social media, I just have to be more careful. But and I've apologized for those missteps, and you know, I'm human, and I will work hard to do better. And I think this committee, of us forming this committee, is going to go a long way in that effort.
We definitely have noticed and appreciate your efforts.
Jennifer Topper, you're recognized, or actually, wait, I'm sorry. I'm not sure if I'm getting, Jennifer, were you next? I might be a little confused here. It's been a long day. Okay.
So outside of COVID and the bus, what do you think was your biggest mistake that you made during superintendent, and how would you work to not make that same mistake again?
Well, I'm not sure the bus situation. Our transportation department operates deep in the red. We budget about between 12 and 13 million dollars in transportation, but we only bring in between $4 and $5 million of FTE. This was a company that our school system had been working with since back in 2008. They insured us they could look at our routing system and make our routes more efficient and effective. And they overpromised and underdelivered. At the end of the day, that's, you know, the buck stops here, and it stopped with me. I immediately took responsibility, apologized to those affected, and took corrective action. And by the second week of school, we were back to normal. As far as the pandemic's concerned, you know, the communication could have been better. But as far as our execution and the work we put in over the course of the summer to position us in a place that was much better and much more effective than it was last April, I think we've done an amazing job. Our school administrators, our teachers, everyone. And I keep saying that, you know, this is not forever. It's just for now. And I get it, especially with this hybrid model. And I wish I had another answer. And that's why I'm looking forward to these roundtable discussions. But for us to meet the mandate set by the governor and the commissioner that all schools must be open brick and mortar by the end of August, 100% for students and families that wanted to attend. I didn't see another path, but I am looking forward to discussions of how we can ease the pain, so to speak. But I am proud. I'm proud of the record I've had over the last 4 years. I think I did exactly what I said. I came out here. Look, I'm so committed to giving you guys money, and and our bus drivers money, and to eliminate wasteful spending. I have not taken a raise in 4 years. I have not accepted a penny, although I've been approved by the legislature every year as a constitutional officer, because I made a commitment to myself to take care of you all and our bus drivers and everyone else before I even thought about myself. So I think I've done a lot of good work over the course of the last 4 years. But there's still a lot I'd like to get done, and a big piece of that is you guys.
Thank you. And I think, Shari, you were next. I couldn't remember. I'll be honest with you. Shari, you're recognized.
All right. Well, I don't know if you guys can hear me, but this seems
We
to have
can.
been the problem I've had all day today. Either at home or at school, where my video does not work. Everything has been fine, and today it's not. So the world must be in retrograde. Mr. Superintendent, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate you and all of the efforts. You already answered the first question that I had, which was about relationships between the bargaining units and the school district. And hearing that you're going to be more at the table is very, very encouraging to hear. And so I'll move on to my second passion, which is early childhood. And I would like to hear from you some more ideas, dreaming and scheming. What are next steps for really helping our ESE and pre-K, our early childhood departments to kind of be the best that they can be, knowing that those foundations are what's going to make everybody else's job easier.
Yeah, Shari, you're preaching to the choir. So one of my major initiatives, other than what we're doing K-12, was early learning on one end of the spectrum, and then totally revitalized and revamping Lively Technical College on the other end. So turning to early learning, you know, I'm a full supporter of this Children's Services Council that's going to be on the ballot in November 3rd. And I've written pieces to try to get other people in our community to support the Children's Services Council. But notwithstanding that effort, I named a director of early learning, and I tasked her to go out in and work with and partner with the Early Learning Coalition, the private providers we have in our community, because we know those years of 0 to 5, those formative years of a child's brain, 95% of a child's brain is formed in those very critical years. The better job we can do on the front end to get kids ready for kindergarten, that's where the achievement gap is. And I've been laser focused on that. That's been a major initiative of mine. I've been to probably, 20 or 30 private providers, from Brownsville Academy to Scottsdale Academy to Early Learning Steps, to a lot to say, okay, we're here. This isn't a got you. We want to partner with you to help you help our children, so that when they get to us, they're better prepared for kindergarten, and we close the gap on the front end. But to your point, that was one of the top things on the top item on my platform the first time, and will continue to be so.
Thank you, Superintendent Hanna. We're going to we want Kim Strelo I'm going to recognize her to go ahead and close this out, and then we'll give you a minute to kind of final statements.
Good evening, Rocky. Thank you for joining us. And we do want to ask one question. What is your plan on building teacher morale?
Well, I think it's sitting at this table, Kim. It just, when y'all come in there on Tuesdays, it really breaks my heart. I mean, you may not be able to see my face because of the mask, but I've worked so hard for so long to develop relationships. I'm a relationship person. I mean, what you see is what you get. I'm not a politician. I've never made a decision to benefit me politically. I never will. It's all trying to do the right thing to make your job as easy as it can be, and to try to compensate you the best that we can, and to treat you like the professionals that you are, and not just with you, but with all of our employees. And I think we've taken great steps. We've, again, back to your salary increases. My goal would be a $1,500 bump every year. I would love to be able to do that. Someone said, could we get back to steps? I even remember the days when I was a young teacher looking at those steps. One day I'll be here, one day I'll be here, one day I'll be here. But if we can continue to make these market corrections of $1,200, $1,500 and keep whacking at it every year, I think that will go a long way to helping folks stay in the profession. You guys didn't get in this for beach. I mean, you knew when you got in, you weren't going to have a house at St. George Island. You got into it because your love for children, your love for our community, and to make our community a better place. But I think the communication, whether it's with a spouse, whether it's with a friend, or whether it's with me as superintendent and you all as teachers, I have to work harder at keeping those lines of communication open and listening for possible solutions to some of the challenges that you are facing.
Thank you, Superintendent Hanna, for being here. I will follow up on that one part just because you mentioned the market adjustments, and it's kind of come through the chat twice, and it's part of what we're hearing as well, is as we move forward, teachers are wondering, especially our veteran teachers, what your commitment may be to recognizing some of the discrepancies that are in place now, the compression that's taking place, the fact that people are in different spots.
Yeah, that's why I thought, us working together last spring to roll that out as a bonus, when, I said, let's don't do that. Let's don't put it in the salaries right now. And you trusting me, I think it's paid off, because we didn't totally get rid of the compression that happened, but we took a big whack at it. So we're in a good place, or a decent place. But like I told you, Scott, if we see in January that the hammer doesn't come and we don't get smacked over the head, I'm all about sitting down and revisiting and looking at where those veteran teachers are. I know how they feel. Like I said, I mean, I'm one of those people now, and I'm married to one of those veteran people now. And it's very disheartening that if you're only making, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 more than a beginning teacher, it's like, what the heck? So I am all for us seeing what resources we have available in the spring. And then, you and I talked about this the other day when we had coffee, to look at some of the inequities and to try to make those things right. I felt like the deal we struck with a minimum of $3,000 for everyone the other day was a good deal, was the best we could do given the resources we had. But if we see in the spring that we're financially positioned in a place where we weren't hit as hard as we anticipated, then yeah, I think we need to go down and drill into some of those individual cases of folks that are still, they're kind of hinky. I don't know how they got here, but we need to do something about it.
Well, I know that goes a long way for a number of the folks on the call. So appreciate your time, and your efforts, and we look forward to talking to you soon.
Well, Scott, I appreciate it. Do I get a chance to wrap things up, or do I?
Yes, here's your minute. Go ahead.
So, someone asked me recently if I could accomplish one thing during my time as superintendent, what would it be? And the answer is simple. It would be to make good on the promises that I made to you guys and to our community. And I've worked hard over the last 4 years to do that. I'm human. I've stumbled, but it's easy when you're not in the arena like we are as a superintendent or as teachers. It's easy for outsiders to cast stones, and it's not easy for us. I mean, especially right now, we're facing challenges we've never faced before, and there's no manual over here on my bookcase that says what to do in a pandemic. There's just not. But us, we have got to do this. And when a time when so many people in our country are doing this, and I'm committed to this, guys. I really mean that. I'm proud of some of the things we've accomplished, the early learning stuff that was mentioned earlier, the career technical stuff at Lively Technical College, the community school at Sable Palm, pre-K all-day programs at Title I schools, now devices for every single child. These are game changers. These are game changers and things that are moving to a common learning management system. But we need to give you guys the professional development and the time that you need, because right now we just threw all this on you. But I'm asking for your support for another 4 years. I just entered my first year in drop. I'm fighting, for you all. I just want 4 more years to finish the things that we've started together, and then hand the baton over to who's next in our school system. I feel is going to be positioned well financially for the future.